What's up everybody, and welcome back to the Phase Reviews YouTube channel with your boy Jordan Nelson. Today I have one of the absolute hidden gems in the portable column speaker array system arena, and that is the Avante AS8. I took these out of the package a couple weeks ago. I've listened to them, completely blown me away. One of the most clear sounding speakers I've ever heard, and at a price that cannot be beat. Today I'm going to tell you about the build quality, the sound quality, how portable it is, and all the other standout features. So let's get started. These column array systems have really taken the live sound market by storm, especially for DJs and small solo acts or small performing groups like a singer-songwriter, because they're so much better looking than your standard speaker on a tripod stand. They are portable, they have a really wide dispersion pattern, and a lot of other pros. I'm really glad that the market is shifting towards this, especially for the weddings and the corporate event space. And this offering comes to us from Avante Audio, and if you're not familiar with Avante, they are a company that is under the ADJ group of companies, so American DJ Lighting, Elation Lighting. This is one of their brands, and it's a relatively newer live sound brand. They make standard speaker cabinets. They also make some small line array systems. They have a lot of cool products, and I don't think many people know about them yet. If you've gone to NAMM, you may have seen them, or perhaps saw some of their videos on Facebook, but honestly, I did not have much experience with this brand, even though I've done a lot of work with ADJ. Now, I first saw this product last year at NAMM 2019, so this isn't something really new, and it may have just slipped under the radar, which is why a lot of people aren't talking about it. But honestly, I consider this a hidden gem for quite a few different reasons, and we can start with the build quality. I think aesthetics are very important, especially if you're a mobile DJ and a lot of your business consists of wedding or corporate events. Having a slick looking setup is really important, along with your mixing skills and your MC abilities. Those are obviously paramount, but if you look the part as well as perform the part, that's very important. The Avante AS8, like all of Avante's speakers, have a really futuristic, sleek appearance. I love how all these lines are contoured. There's not a lot of excess here. It's a very slim design, and it really is just, it's there to perform and look good doing it. The aesthetic is the same on the base unit. I'll overlay videos so you can see that, but just a very refined, kind of no-nonsense design, which is something I appreciate. This is a plastic build, which is no knock on it. A lot of the most popular DJ speakers out there are a plastic design. It allows them to be more lightweight and easier to transport. And at 28 pounds for this guy, it's gonna be no sweat for anyone to fit this into their vehicle and carry it into their venue. I love with this unit, I can pick two of them up, one sub in each hand with the cases on my shoulder, and walk in with a stereo sound system into a venue in one trip. If you're not using a cart, no sweat. I really like that about it. Speaking of carrying these into your venue, they include a case for the two separate top units with a purchase of the AS8, which is awesome. A lot of companies, you have to buy the slip covers or the case separately. Avante is throwing that in. Now, one thing that I would like to see would be a slip cover for the subwoofer. That's not included, and I can't find one for sale, so maybe in the future they can come out with one of those. But the coating on the speaker, on the sub itself, is very resistant. I tried scratching it with my fingernails, with a couple other things, no visible scratches. And I've had issues with other speakers in the past. My Alto subwoofer scratched very easily. This is a much more hard-wearing coating. You're not gonna have issues scratching this up when you just like lightly set it anywhere. Granted, put a blanket over it if you need to, or find some way to take care of it, but it's not very sensitive to scratching. Let's talk about a few specs of this unit. It's an 8-inch subwoofer, which is obviously gonna affect the sound output, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but don't discount the 8-inch woofer because it definitely has its pros. And it also has 6, 2, and 3/4 inch high frequency drivers in the top part of the speaker itself. So that's going to give you, again, like all of the portable column arrays, a very wide dispersion pattern. So you're not wasting as much sound energy on the ceiling or the floor, and you're spreading it out more in your venue. So if you were a single solo act, you know, singer-songwriter, guitar, you could sit down, have one of these, and it would cover a very wide area with only using one unit. Other important specs, it has a 250 watt amplifier inside of it. I appreciate that Avante is not inflating the numbers. Some manufacturers will put 1200 watts when that in reality that's like a 1 second white noise peak. This is a 250 watt unit and it has a peak decibel level of 116. Is this going to rock a party of 200 people? Absolutely not. It has more specific uses, which I'm going to talk about, but 250 watts and 116 decibels is more than enough for your cocktail hours, for your wedding ceremonies, for your coffee shop, singer-songwriter gigs. It has its niche uses, and we'll go into more of those, but I think it's more than enough, and I cranked this baby up, and I was very, very impressed by the sound levels that came out of it. And I'll do a sound quality test with a Tascam recorder in just a moment. Now, one other spec that I wanted to talk about, which is one of the more important ones, is the low frequency extension. It's rated down to 55 hertz. Now, the lowest note on a bass guitar is 40 hertz, which is lower than that, okay? So being able to reproduce the full sound frequency spectrum is very important. I ran a sine wave through this and I was starting to hear pretty good bass at 45 hertz. So it'll extend a little bit farther than what the specs may say. Is it going to thump your school dances with the hip hop beats at 30 hertz? No. Not intended for that. With an 8-inch woofer, this is going to do really, really well in the mid and upper bass and the mid frequencies and the highs. And I'm going to talk about the clarity, but suffice it to say, the clarity of this speaker blew me away, but we'll get into that. While we're on the subject of who this speaker's used for, I mentioned guitarists and singer-songwriters, so let's take a look at the mixer section. The mixer section has 2 1/4-inch XLR combo inputs that can be switched from mic or line, so a lot of flexibility there, as well as a headphone jack in an 1/8-inch 3.5 millimeter, tip ring sleeve headphone jack for your MP3 player or some other source of music, background tracks. It also has Bluetooth capability. The Bluetooth connects very quickly and it has great range. It sounds awesome. You can go, I think it says up to 50 feet. Obviously, don't push it with the Bluetooth, but the Bluetooth connectivity is solid and really high output levels on the Bluetooth. All 3 of those channels have their own independent volume knob. And then the last section of the mixer is a high-low equalizer. So not a crazy complicated equalizer. I like to bump the lows up from about 12 o'clock position to 1 or 2. That just gives it a little more of a full sound. And I didn't mess with the highs at all, but you could tweak that to your liking. All right, so I've alluded to it, but let's talk about the sound quality. When I took this out, was not expecting to be blown away by the bass response, but I was not expecting how clear the mids and the highs would be. Vocals, artists singing through the speaker, absolutely mind-blowing. I have a really nice hi-fi system at home that I like to listen to records on, and I put a lot of money into it. The quality coming out of this made me go, whoa, am I listening on my home system? It really sounds amazing. If you are someone performing or singing through one of these systems, you are going to be very, very satisfied. DJs, if you want a system for a ceremony where vocals are going to come through crystal clear, do not hesitate with this. I think that is its strongest point. The sound quality is really, really outstanding. I have a Turbo Sound IP2000 rig that I've used for the past couple hundred weddings that I've done. Amazing sound system, clarity nowhere near these guys, and the price is twice as much. So really, really happy with the sound quality out of the Avante AS8. Now, the part where this system is going to fall short is obviously going to be the output and the bass extension. It's not an Evolve 50 from Electro Voice, it's not the Turbo Sounds IP2000s. Those kind of come in with brute force and with the punch that you need, for 100, 150 person receptions or events. This guy, I would say if you're gonna rock a pair of these to do like a dance set, maybe no more than 50 people. Again, that's not what they're aimed at. This is all about portability and sound quality and convenience, and it excels there. And the price point, which I can change from time to time, so I won't give you an exact price point, but usually a half or a third of some of the other column speaker systems on the market. Now, if you wanted to do a larger event, let's say you wanted to do those bigger weddings, you could easily pair this with a subwoofer, cross over the output of the subwoofer to these so they don't have to handle the lowest frequencies, and I think you would be fine up to 100, 150 people. They really, really have the punch in the mids and the highs. It's just when they have to try and reproduce those low frequencies that they start to run out. So So if you want to buy one of these, I think it's nice to have the flexibility to use these small systems on their own for the more intimate events, and then you throw in the subwoofer and you've got this really flexible system that can now do larger gatherings, 100, 150 people. So you've heard me rave about sound quality. I'd love for you to hear it. Obviously, YouTube is not the best way to do that, but what I'll do is I'll record the output of these through the microphones on a Tascam recorder that should give me better sound quality than the camera itself. Don't use this as a definitive means of choosing the speaker based on sound quality, but I'm hoping that the clarity of the vocals and the high and mid frequencies comes through, because really it blew my mind if you can't tell. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right, and that is the Avante AS8. I am so happy that I got to listen to a couple of these. They really are a hidden gem. If you are a singer-songwriter, a small musical act, if you're a mobile DJ that needs a ceremony system, or you need a cocktail hour system, I would not hesitate to use these. These will be my go-tos for those situations from now on. I love how portable it is and lightweight. I love how good it sounds, and I highly recommend it. Avante has done a really great job. I want to listen to more Avante products because they have got something good on their hands here. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked the content, please give it a like down below. Drop a comment. Are there other speaker systems or column arrays that you're interested in me talking about, or that you've had great experiences with? I want to hear about it. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.